Three jurors decided not to convict a man of murder just because he's black. Really? Let's talk about it. What's going on, America? I am the right-winged angel, Oliver Mack. Now, let's get into this story. This comes out of Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Now, you have a man, a black man, mind you, who was on trial because he broke into someone's house, a white lady's house, and he was there to do a burglary, but he actually found the person home. So he decided to tie her up and stab her 24 times, killing her. Now, the case seemed pretty cut and dry. The evidence was overwhelming against him. They had his DNA on the murder weapon, and they found his DNA in the home, so we know who did it. But this jury decided that race should be a deciding factor of whether someone goes to prison for the rest of their lives or they go home. Race should be a deciding factor of whether someone is guilty or not. They said they could not send a black man to prison for the rest of his life. So I want you to see the story for yourself because it's pretty unbelievable. And if I keep talking, you're going to say, oh, what? I don't think that happened. So I want to show you so you can see it for yourself. So let's take a look at the video. Check it out.
A jury foreman speaking out about what was going through her mind moments before a high-profile murder case ended in a mistrial. 7's Nicole Insalata reports.
We just need to follow the law as they instructed us to do and not put our emotions into this.
But one of the jurors charged with deciding the fate of accused murderer Deontay Rezilis says that's exactly what happened in the jury room. The trial ended this week with a hung jury, and the foreperson says 3 jurors were unwilling to convict Rezilis based on his race.
They said, I don't want to send a young black male to jail for the rest of their life or have them get the death sentence.
Rezilis could face either of those most severe penalties if he's convicted of killing Jill Sue. Prosecutors say Rezilis broke into the 59-year-old's Davie home intending to commit burglary, but when he found her inside, tied her up and stabbed her 24 times. His DNA found on a knife and inside the home. He was arrested, charged with murder, and 2 years later escaped from the courthouse during a hearing. Investigators tracked him down nearly a week later. Finally, in late November, the trial. And after 6 days of deliberation,
ladies and gentlemen, it's my understanding you have reached a verdict.
They had Rezilis guilty of manslaughter, or so it seemed. When it came time for the foreperson to confirm the verdict in open court, she couldn't do it.
Is this your verdict?
No. I took a deep breath. I'm staring at the judge and at the clerk, and we're locking eyes, and I'm looking at each of one of them, and they're just waiting for my verdict of either yes, I agree, or no, and I just couldn't, and that's why I said no.
She said most of the jury was ready to convict Rezilis of at least second-degree murder, but 3 refused because the defendant is black. They compromised on manslaughter, but she said she had a pit in her stomach and she changed her mind. Returning to the jury room, she said she was cursed out, even threatened.
You guys keep saying a young black man, I don't see race. I just see a human being. And, one particular person said to me, hey, if you were outside this courtroom, you would have gotten smacked out in the street for this.
A new jury will hear the same evidence after the new year. She hopes they will do their job.
Put the emotions aside, put the bias aside, put racial aside, just follow the law.
Nicole Insalata for Today in Florida.
Well, jury selection for the new trial is scheduled to happen after the holidays.
Now, isn't that interesting? Now, from the left, they're always talking about how racist the criminal justice system is, how it's only out to get black and brown people, but black people in particular, how everything's so unfair to black people, that black people go to prison all the time for crimes they don't commit. Black people get way more prison time than white people. All this you hear from the left, but we have a clear case of the person's race, he's black, the person's race actually playing a positive role in the case. This case resulted in a mistrial because 3 of the jurors decided not to convict him because he was black. They wanted to give him manslaughter because he was black. Manslaughter? He broke into someone's house, tied them up, and stabbed them 24 times. And you want to give him manslaughter? How do you think that makes the family feel? That the life of their loved one doesn't matter because you want to have pity on someone based on their race. That's called racism. Now, I don't know the race of jurors that didn't want to convict him. I don't know the race of them, but I guarantee you either they're black or they're woke white liberals who want to feel good about themselves by saving a black man from life in prison or the death penalty, which, by the way, he deserves based on the crimes that he has committed. I can't imagine being that family that's seeking justice, that wants to see this person go to prison or die based on what he did to their family member. But they got to sit through another trial because these 3 jurors wanted to play the identity politics game in the court of law. They wanted to play woke in the court of law. They wanted to play Captain Save-A, you know what, in the court of law. Unbelievable. But this is where we are in 2021. You know, I fear for the fate of our country. I fear for the fate of our justice system when we have people that can sit on a jury and decide someone's fate based on race, not based on the facts and the evidence of the case. Nah, that doesn't matter. Nothing matters more to these woke liberals than race. Nothing matters. It's sad because I know there are a lot of cases out there where guilt or innocence just depended on race. Now, since we live in this society that talks about racism all the time, that talks about inequality all the time, you would think that the left would be totally on board with making sure that this type of thing did not happen. But they don't care about that. Equality is not what they're after. They're after supremacy for black and brown people. They would love to see a country where white people become the minority and black and brown people become the majority. Why? I don't know, because white people are the driving force behind this. I don't know why they're rooting for their own demise. I have no idea. I guess feeling good about themselves means more to them than anything. It means more to them than their own success. It means more to them than their own children's future. It means more to them than whether they can put food on their table. It means more to them than anything. So when they're doing what they're doing, when they're deciding that someone's race should decide whether they get to walk or not, whether they get to be released out of prison in 5 years versus life in prison, it doesn't matter to them because at least they get to feel good. And that sucks for a lot of people who are victims of crimes perpetrated by black or brown people. So you have a chance that if your loved one gets murdered by someone who's black or brown, that they have a chance of getting out of prison. They have a chance of being acquitted of all charges just because of their race. Because they say they don't want to see a black or brown person spend their lives in prison. But they have no problem sending a white person to prison for the rest of their life. Isn't that crazy? I thought Dr. King said we shouldn't judge anybody based on the color of their skin. They should be judged based on the content of their character. Well, in the court of law, that's what we seek to do. We seek to judge someone based on the content of their character. And if their character is, fill in the blank, then we must send them to prison. That's how it works. I try not to cuss on these videos, but sometimes I just get so hyped that it just might slip out. So if you see me stopping myself, that's why, because I'm just too excited. I'm just too heated about these topics, because I believe in justice for everyone, no matter what your race is. Injustice against one person is an injustice against us all. So I believe that this family that lost their loved one because of this maniac, crazy person, the fact that they have to sit through another trial based on the killer's race, unacceptable. Unacceptable. We should not live in a society where something like that can happen. And I blame these woke liberals, these Democrats, who are just trying to implement policies based on race. And people are suffering because of it. People are dying because of it. And I refuse to suffer like that. Fortunately, I benefit because I happen to be black. But I don't want to. I don't want to live in a society where my color is beneficial to me. Even though people on the left will say it's not. Even though people on the left will say that my color is a detriment to me. We know that's not true. Especially when you see a situation like this. They gave a manslaughter. Or they tried to give a manslaughter. Thankfully, the foreman stepped up. She really stepped up and did what she was supposed to do. She did not let this happen. And they hated her for it. They threatened her for it. She couldn't even show her face. Think about that. She did the right thing. This is what was supposed to happen. If these people are trying to do something that is against our justice system, that is against what those jurors were there to do. They were not there to look at the person's race and make a judgment based on that. They were there to look at the law, to look at the jury instructions that they were given, and make a decision based on that. But we have woke jurors infiltrating our court system. Think about it. Think about the Kyle Rittenhouse trial. The jury took, 3 or 4 days to deliver a verdict? The evidence was overwhelming that Kyle Rittenhouse shot those people in self-defense. Overwhelming. This case should have never been brought to trial. But it took the jury so long to deliver a verdict. You know that some woke people infiltrated that courtroom, infiltrated that jury, and decided to make a decision, or decided to hold up the decision based on their ideology. Because that's what it's all about. These people don't care about facts. These people don't care about evidence. These people don't care about anything but their ideology and their narratives. And we need to keep ideologies and narratives out of the court of law, or our justice system will be screwed. We'll have people going to prison based on crimes that they did not commit, all because they stood for the wrong thing. If you're a patriot, if you supported Trump, if you love America, and you happen to go to trial for something, most likely a crime that you did not commit, because people said you did something that you did not do, and we have DAs that are willing to bring things to trial, bring cases to trial based on ideologies and narratives, you could find yourself going to prison for a very, very long time. And that is scary. That is nightmarish that could happen in the United States of America. So I need everyone to wake up and realize what's going on. I need everyone who thinks like me to stand up and fight with me. Make your voices heard. Do not let this happen. Do not let situations like this, the one I talked about earlier with these woke jurors, do not let situations like this happen in your area, in your city, in your state. Don't let it happen. Protest. Do what you got to do. Let them know that we will not stand for this. Because if we don't, it will be hell on earth for everyone who's a patriot in America. Well, I'm Oliver Mack, the right-winged angel. Thank you so much for watching this video. Please make sure to smash the like button, hit the subscribe, hit the notification bell, and share this video with your friends and family because they need to know what's going on in the world today. All right, guys. Well, I'll catch you on the next video. See you soon. Peace.